The secret to well-being is discovering the power that is your birthright, the power to create a happier, healthier life drawn from our own vast internal resources. Join Jules and her guests as they gently guide you to shift your perspective from the familiar negative to the divinely connected, a place that will not only positively impact your world, but possibly shift the planet. It's all right here on Law of Attraction Talk Radio.
Well, welcome to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I'm Jules from beautiful Southern California. I want to thank you for being with me today, wherever you are in the world, because I've got an important message. You know, 2017 is the year of new beginnings, new opportunities, and I know a lot of my listeners are looking for information on how to start a business. What are the steps that you take? And tonight's show is going to be about that. And I've invited a really tremendous Law of Attraction life coach, Kristie Scott, to come and tell us the things that she did to start her own business, especially coming out of the corporate world. So this is so exciting, and I'm so glad you have the opportunity to listen. This is about you feeling secure enough to get outside that 8-to-5 job and finally discovering the freedom of being self-employed. And this is so super important today. I remember when I started my business, 10, 11 years ago, it was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done before. And I didn't know what to do. I just kept on chugging away each and every day. And a lot of the time, I became so fearful. It's like, what am I doing here? I don't understand. But what I discovered in the 10 years is that I truly am the master of my life. I truly can create all the money I need to live abundantly, and it's all about energy. So it may sound kind of weird and unbelievable, but let me tell you, I'm living proof that you can go from being in a 9-to-5 to something that you are experiencing the total freedom of living life your way. And that's what we're all about tonight. And I'm so thrilled to be bringing you this message with the certified Law of Attraction coach, Kristie Scott. Well, welcome, Kristie Scott, to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I am so excited that you're with me today because, boy, this is perfect timing to talk to you. The beginning of 2017. This is terrific.
Yes, a brand new year to start.
Yeah, and we've got so much information to cover. So, I want to talk a little bit about you because you really started from the corporate world before you became a life coach.
Yeah, I did. I was kind of doing dual paths at the same time. I was always in the spiritual realm, in the self-help realm, on my own path. And then in the corporate world, earning a beautiful living and living in that world. But my heart was never really on track. I loved it. I worked at Mattel Toys and I designed toys for a living. So I'm a designer at heart. So I had a beautiful career, but all the while I was seeking and learning and going to places like I grew up in religious science, the Church of Religious Science, the Teaching of First Homes. And that's in that little bookstore. In that little bookstore, that's where I fell in love with Louise Hay.
Oh, yeah, my favorite. Yeah.
Oh, You Can Change Your Life, Heal Your Life book just changed my life. Started affirmations. That was a whole new path, which led me to Agape Spiritual Center and Beckworth and all these wonderful adventures that I was on. And all the meanwhile, I'm in a corporate world doing things that didn't really fill my heart and spirit, but I enjoyed it. So it was funny because even as I'm going in this spiritual world, reading all these books like Jack Canfield and the Aladdin Factor and Attraction, the Joe Vitale, the Attractor Factor, and all these wonderful books, and not realizing I was living the law of attraction the whole time until my friend said, there's this great movie we've got to see called The Secret. I'm like, okay. And then as it's playing, I'm seeing all these people that I know and relate to, like Michael Beckworth and all these people. I'm like, wow, I'm living this.
Oh, wow.
It was wild. So I'm like, wow, there's something else out there for me.
So that got you excited to start a path on your own?
Yeah, well, actually, in the corporate world of many people, I got laid off.
Oh, that will do it every time.
That always shakes it up. That's a common thread through a lot of people's lives that they change careers. And I like, this is an opportunity. I should take it.
Fabulous.
So I began a new path.
So it's at that point that, I mean, you had to be a little scared because that's the normal response for anybody coming from a safe 9 to 5 job and going into their own. It's a very fearful
Oh,
experience.
very fearful, very fearful. And actually, when I got laid off, I was thinking in my head, I was a corporate girl and that's all I knew. So I'm like thinking of all the self-help stuff out there. I'm like, well, Hay House Publications, I mean, Louise Hay's Publications, I'd love to work for them. I mean,
Gosh, yeah.
I could live, and I'm a graphic designer and a designer. So I'm like, I could do something for them. So I'm like,
Absolutely.
so that's where I was going to. And that's actually a funny story of how I got my product going is through Hay House, but in a roundabout way. So when I got laid off, I was using, I don't know if you've ever used, she has a daily affirmation calendar that every day you rip off the affirmation.
Oh, yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
my gosh. I've grown up with those and they were beautiful and colorful and the graphics were gorgeous. And every year I purchased that calendar. And the year I got laid off, they changed the format and did all photographs.
Really?
Like, wow, that's a little odd. I'm like, I miss those colors. I miss the brightness. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm unemployed. I'm a graphic artist. I am going to create a whole bunch of my artwork, submit it to Hay House, and then thinking they'll pick up my artwork for the next calendar. I mean, I could do that. And so I did that. And they said, no, thank you. We're going to keep the format of photographs, which I said, okay. I was a little bummed. But then I'm like, okay. And then my boyfriend's like, wait a minute, you have all this artwork? Why don't you do your own calendar?
Gosh.
And I'm like, and here I'm unemployed. That's a scary place to be. So then I thought, okay. And then I started creating a calendar, thinking self-publishing, this and that, which actually transformed into my Evolution Daily cards, my Evolution cards.
Yeah, which I happen to get, and these are fabulous. I wish I would have had these 10 years ago when I did my business, because it's the answer to keep you out of the fear. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. So you actually created this a long time ago?
Yes, I created a long time ago, which led me on my path to my new career. And I'm thinking, well, do I self-publish them? And then that's when I'm like, well, maybe life coaching is for me because I've been on this path since I was 12, 13 in the spiritual world. So I'm thinking, well, maybe a life coach is the way to go. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's do some research. And it was funny because in the corporate world, I had a friend of mine say, well, you need a life coach because I was a little frustrated. And that's after The Secret came out. And then after The Secret, there was Beyond the Secret movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I want to see that. And it was playing in the movie theater. So I bought a ticket and I thought, I'm going to go by myself because I just want to absorb it. Sometimes when you go with a lot of people, you get their opinions,
Yeah.
But I just want to go and absorb it all by myself. So I go to the theater after work. I'm dressed in my work clothes and I sit down, I snuggle in. There's a lot of empty seats around me. And all of a sudden the lights go down, and there's a gentleman in a suit that comes and sits right next to me. And in my head, I'm kind of laughing, like, really? There's all these empty seats, and this guy sits next to me. And I just laughed inside, and I said, okay. And then I just snuggled and enjoyed the movie. And after the movie, the lights go up, and he looks over and he goes, hey, did you like that? I said, I really did. I enjoyed it. And we talked for a little bit. And then he said, well, hi, I'm David. And then he reaches in his coat pocket. He said, pulls out a business card and says, I'm a life coach. And I just go, oh, come on, the law of attraction working for me. I just laughed. I said, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the law of attraction. So I hired him, and he took me on this wonderful journey. So I got to experience a life coach.
That's really good. That's important too, I believe.
And I had a wonderful experience. I met goals, and I changed things in my life. And then it was after that I got laid off. And then so I reached out to him, and I thought, David, I'm unemployed here, and I've got all these ideas, and Hay House just said no thank you to me. I've got artwork. I'm like, I'm thinking of life coaching. He said, oh my gosh, you'd be great for it, And he got me on the path to Kristie Whitman. Have you ever heard of Kristie Whitman?
Oh, of course. She spoke at Palm Springs Convention Center that I did.
Yes. 2014, I was there. It was a fabulous convention.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we had a great time. I didn't know you were there. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, I was cheering her on because I was going through her coaching academy at the time.
Oh, wow.
And she's wonderful. I mean, she is a law of attraction girl. Yeah. She's got an amazing program, a year-long program that just deep dive in the support system that she has for you is amazing. She's a gem.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what happened after you took your life course with Kristie and you became knowledgeable on how you can go forward? But let's backtrack a little bit. Tell me the steps you felt going through, because I know that the listeners can identify with every step. It's like a miracle, but it totally takes you out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Being laid off takes you out of your comfort zone.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But then it's going back to those roots that I've grown up with. It's those affirmations. I mean, when I started doing affirmations, I mean, every day driving to work and, doing my affirmations in the mirror, doing those affirmations, those sink in. And before you know it, they take over. I do affirmations every day with my sweetheart. And it's just like of things that I still am bringing into my life in the future. And it's just like, so every thought we think, that's creating our future. So every affirmation we say. So to keep out of that fear, affirmations are so powerful.
So how do you read you open up the box, of course. You pick out a card, and that's what you're supposed to be hearing for the day?
Yeah. So basically, I start with my evolution cards every morning, and I just shuffle them in the morning. I have a few sips of coffee, and I get grounded and quiet and silent, and I shuffle my cards, and I think of the intention for the day. Just get in a quiet place and honor yourself for a moment. And then you can ask for guidance. You can say, what do I need to know for my interview today? Or what do I need to know for my conference call? Or you can ask a specific question. And then just be quiet and still and shuffle and spread them out on a bed or spread them out on the counter or put them in your hands. And then pick a card. And when you pick a card, that is something that's being brought to you. So it depends on what you pick. Like, I'll pick one.
Yeah.
Faith.
Ooh.
So the top word, faith, is your focusing word. And then the phrase underneath it is, faith is taking a step forward even when you don't know the result. So it just backs up the focusing word on top. Then when you flip it over, it's, how will I take a leap of faith today? And that tagline is a point of action. And that's what I love about what I teach, and I teach my clients, is you got to take action. If you don't take action, nothing changes.
Exactly.
So my little tagline in the back is to get you going, So how will I take a leap of faith today? And then have faith. So throughout the day, you're going to be thinking of faith. That's going to be resonating throughout your whole day. You can be in a meeting, you can be in the car, and that word will come to you. And it's interesting because sometimes the card that comes to you and you pick it, it's spot on and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's exactly what I need today. And some days it's a little more challenging, like patience. I picked patience the other day and I really did need some patience that day. So you've got to be open to what's coming to you and be open to all the messages that come.
Yeah, I like that faith because for me it says you can let go and let source, knowing that source has got your back and you really don't have to worry. It's just like let it go, let it go. And that's what I constantly need to be aware of in my day to day business dealings. One month I won't have enough to cover my expenses, and then I just let it go and it starts flowing in.
And so when we hold on too tight, when we hold on, it's like that's when things don't come to us. We stop the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But there's something really special about these cards, too. You have this thing about color.
Oh, I love color.
And I know your website is so incredible. You go to it and it's just like a happy place. And I didn't know when I first saw it that you were a graphic designer, but it's like, oh yeah, of course. But there's something that you are in tune with. So it's like you've you've infused these colors. There's something that makes you feel. How do you do that?
Well, it's interesting. I guess it's probably all my years in the toy business too, is creating toys and
Oh,
happiness.
yeah.
So there's a playful side to me. There's a little girl inside of me that loves to play. That's definitely part of it. But also too is my research out there in the self-help world, which I've grown up with, which I still am an avid reader and constantly, watching Oprah and Super Soul Sunday, and I'm reading like mad.
Yeah.
And in this self-help industry, I'm finding that the graphics aren't as happy and colorful,
Yeah.
and I think there's a void for that. And if you're reading something that's challenging in a bit to have faith, it's like, why not be infused with color and brightness and happy graphics to sink it in and make it a little more inviting?
Exactly. So reading your cards, it's geared towards the message and you can actually feel the card. So it by looking at it, it's like you're taking on that feeling, and that's what makes those cards different from any other cards. And believe me, I've seen a lot of cards, but this is just it makes you feel like, okay, I'm really getting this message. All right, I'm going to stay focused in on this. They are too cool. As I said, I
Awesome.
wish I would have had these when I started out my business because it would have made me feel so much better and less fearful. And I got to hand it to you. You nailed it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the
Oh
compliment.
no, I just think these cards are wonderful. I got to urge all the listeners, you've got to get, I'm showing a picture of the cards. You got to get these cards because, oops, I had it upside down. Because they are phenomenal. They really are. And I got to tell you, I tried it for myself. It's just wonderful, and the messages and the actions and everything. And even though I'm 10 years into my business,
Yeah.
I need it more today than I ever did, and it keeps me
Yeah.
intact with the universe. So, yeah, they're
I think
wonderful.
the more I think I see my cards as like another tool in your tool belt.
Yeah.
And we need a lot of tools these days. There's a lot of noise coming at us. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of technology. There's business is stressful. It's like, so another tool to focus us, and
Exactly.
we shuffle every day and pick it and focus on a clean intention. What a beautiful way to start the day.
Exactly. Exactly. You also have a really terrific blog that has some questions that I wanted to ask you.
Oh, okay.
There were some about You have tips for anxiety and worry that comes with being self-employed. Can you share a little bit with the listeners on that?
How to help your anxiety?
Yeah, how to release it, how to let it go, because it still comes up for people. And I hear from my listeners all the time that, what do you do to get rid of this? Besides reading the cards, but let me hear some of your tips and techniques.
Yeah, I teach a lot of Abraham processes to my clients. So I don't know if you're familiar with the wonderful processes,
Yeah.
and it really helps cut the noise in your head.
Uh-huh.
So there is like a 68-second process that I adore, and it's really getting you to raise your vibration and to calm you. So example is for 68 seconds, which we all have 68 seconds, was I time my client, and like one of my clients had a party to go to. Her husband's work was having a business party, and she was just had an anxiety over it. She was like, "What am I going to wear? How am I going to mingle?" and all that stuff. I said, "Well, let's do a little process. It's called the 68-second process, and you're going to describe to me as if it's already happened. You're already feeling it. You had a successful time in detail, and just it's all done. So explain what happened at that party to me in 68 seconds." So I timed her, and she just got into this place of like, "Oh my gosh, Kristie, you wouldn't believe the party. It was so fantastic. I found the perfect dress. My girlfriend and I went shopping. It was to die for. I got the cutest shoes to go with it. And I even bought a tie for Robert. It brought out the blue in his eyes. We went to the party. It was fabulous. It was gorgeous. The food was just amazing. We ended up dancing. I didn't know there'd be dancing there. And we mingled, and they were so inviting, and everybody was so nice. And we had an amazing time. I don't know what I was worried about. And then so I ended and I said, "How did you feel, after you explained all that?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it was amazing." So we create these stories in our head that are just crazy. By taking 68 seconds, you can change your vibration and write a new outcome.
That's right. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So that is really exciting because you can rewrite your story.
We do it all the time. Think about it. But we get trapped with all those stories in our head. But if we can get out of those stories and just rewrite it, 68 seconds is rewrite it. If you're at the post office and you're frustrated, just rewrite it. I'm going to get up to the teller. I'm going to have a wonderful time. It's going to be less money than I thought. She's going to be adorable. And before you know it, you're in and out and you're in the car on the next errand.
And the next errand. Yeah, keep on going. And then you do it again and again. And pretty soon it's automatic.
It's just like going to the gym and using those muscles. It's a process. Everything's a process. And we have to be a little more patient with ourselves.
Yeah, we do. And that's another problem because we tend to beat ourselves up.
We do. We're hard on ourselves. Think about it.
Yeah. I know I am. If I don't do it perfectly, okay, that's it. I let myself, and that's the worst possible thing I can do.
Yeah.
So at that time when I start beating myself up, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing?
What I usually do is when I'm thinking a negative thought or I'm just going in a different path, I just stop and I just take a deep breath. That's it. Just take a deep breath and then slowly go, how can I change that thought? And be patient with ourselves because it's a process. Changing a negative thought to a positive thought is work, and it's a process, and we have to be patient with ourselves. We really do. We're too hard on ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And that's tough to do. And does it have to do with possibly the way we grew up,
Oh yeah.
or it does?
Oh yeah. We're programmed with all this information and what we should be doing and doing this, and you do this and you have to do the religion and the church and the this and that. I was very blessed to be put in a church with I mean, Church of Religious Science with Ernest Holmes with positive thinking. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's a whole different mindset.
Yeah.
But that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you were fortunate to have access to that material. What
Yeah.
would you say for the people who don't have access? How do they start by just pausing and taking a breath? But to remember to pause and take a breath while you're in the midst of criticizing yourself,
Yeah.
that's the tough thing.
That's a tough thing. But I just love out there too, it's just all amazing books. And I mean, even the Louise Hay books on tape that she has a wonderful on tape of how to say an affirmation, how to create an affirmation, how to use an affirmation. Just put that in the car alone and just listen to that tape and just get the idea of affirmations and just get the idea of, wait a minute, every thought I think creates my future. Every thought I think affects me. So if I'm thinking negative, 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 I'm attracting negative. So just putting your brain around that alone is big. And then you can get
Exactly.
to the next step of like, okay, wait, that wasn't a good thought. So let me just stop and breathe. Let me just take a deep breath and say, how can I tweak that? How can I change that thought?
So you brought up a very interesting point is that the universe has provided us with all of these documentations and action steps that we can take for ourselves. I remember listening to Louise Hay 101 affirmations, and everywhere I went in the car that was on, and it I would enter the car feeling terrible. And by the time I got to my destination, I felt so much better. And it's
Yeah.
just like reading your cards. So it's that
Yeah.
little action step that's just yours and
Yes.
nobody else's that you can take to make your life so much more positive, no matter our background.
Well, it's and do a little check and look what's around you. Are you watching the news 24/7? Are you around negative people? Just check in and see what's around you. I mean, even taking the news out, you can be informed, but you don't have to be overdosed.
Gosh, really.
You
Especially
know,
nowadays, yeah.
yeah. So be mindful of what's around you. Who are you hanging around? What are you reading? Are you moving your body? Are you eating well? All these are beautiful things that you put you on a healthier mindset. And if you're listening Louise Hayes tape or self-help tapes or good music, that's going through you. And that's a lot better than this negative news that we're watching.
So, what do
So
you do with the negative person that's in your life? Like a sibling, or people will say it's my mother, or what do you do? How do you correct? How do you get yourself back in to I mean, you
yeah.
can't divorce your mother.
But you can have healthy boundaries, and
Ah,
boundaries are amazing. And a lot of people have no clue about boundaries. So, and then you can have a time allotted. You don't have to hang out with her 24/7. Have a smaller amount of time with her. So, with negative people, and there's some that are very negative that aren't family that you can take out of your life. And people like, no, I shouldn't. No, you can. Some people are, very toxic, and it's okay to take them out of your life. So, but having boundaries there's a great book called Boundaries, and really having clear boundaries and saying, Mom, I can see you for coffee for that day, but I'm not spending the whole day with you. So that'll help a relationship big time.
wow. Yeah, yeah. So, if I noticed even on Facebook that it's actually practicing and helping me because a lot of the people on Facebook I don't know personally. And if they're not a match to my vibration, it's real easy for me to unfriend.
Yes,
And,
good, good.
and you know what? I just feel powerful every time I do it. I don't have to say a word. I just unfriend. So that gets me to the point where I can start doing it every day, and keeping myself in that space of loving the people that I'm with.
Yes, and that's taking care of yourself. That's bringing your power back. They say it on the airplane, put the oxygen mask
Mm-hmm.
on your face first. Don't take care of the child, and then you can take care of friends. So if you're constantly giving and giving, giving, your cup is empty. So by saying no and click unfriend, you're taking care of yourself. You're taking your power back.
Yeah, I know. And then I noticed on Facebook they're saying you don't need to unfriend people. That's not right. You can't just cut people off like that. And I'm going, wait a minute. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. It's okay. And that's
Hey,
what you're supposed to do in everyday life.
well, that's the thing. Like even the four agreements, don't take it personal.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really important. It's okay.
It is.
So
It
we
is.
can we can with mom, we can be aware of that feeling that comes up going, "Oh, I'm starting to feel like I don't want to listen." That should be a telltale sign
Your
then,
intuition is so powerful.
yeah, that it's time to leave
Yeah.
before getting into a fight. When you start feeling your gut going, Mom, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later, and that way you're still leaving on a very loving note, right?
Beautiful. Yes. Listen to that intuition. And a lot, make a certain amount of time. 3 hours is too much to an hour. So make the time going in so you're not feeling that anxiousness too of like, I'm done. I want to flee.
Right, right. So, what do you, what would you do then for um, people who are that are not experiencing their intuition yet? How do you get to that point? How do you recognize? How do you put a name on your icky feelings?
I had a friend that told me once, it's like, I said, how do you read your intuition?
Yeah.
She said, it's action. So when you feel that you're leaving a store and you don't feel safe or something's going on, that intuition, at that moment, take action and do something. If you don't take action, then you can't get a read on it. So if I'm walking out of the store and I don't feel safe or something feels a little weird in the parking lot, go back in the store, take that action and go like, okay, what's going on? Let me get my keys in my hand. Are there people around? Take action to shift it. And then you can get a read on it.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, how long did it take you to understand your intuition?
It's a process. And I think even doing all the research and reading the books like Attraction Factor with Joe Vitale and everything is really being open to things. I mean, even like finding that life coach in that movie theater, it's just like being open to it and going, okay, and he pulls out his business card. I'm a life coach. And I'm like, really? It's like that's actually happening. But it's like that intuition. I wanted to go alone, and I honored it. I wanted to be in that space and enjoy that movie for me. So I followed that intuition and I did it.
Ah, wow.
So that's important,
Yeah.
is to take action on that intuition.
And it's basically to understand that we each were born with our intuition, right? It's just something that we have to develop. But every person on this planet, including the animals,
Oh yeah.
have intuition.
I think women have a little more intuition than men.
I'd have to agree with you.
I don't know if it's a mom thing, a maternal thing, but we definitely, a lot of my girlfriends, and it's just like, I had a gut or I had a feeling and da 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 da. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's a process and we have to practice it.
Yeah, I think men have to kind of dive into it a little bit harder than we women. I think it has to do with motherhood and nurturing, and
Yeah.
actually the need to feel what the child is feeling. Are they safe? Or so right then you're diving into your intuition. Motherhood is a great thing. I've never been a mother, but I am a grandmother.
Oh.
But through marriage, but I still can. Is he okay? Is he? Yeah. So yeah, women do have that blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you're not a mother, you get those, those feelings.
And I'm sure the fathers do too, but it's a different. They're geared toward the work ethic. So, do you coach a lot of men?
I only have one man. I'm predominantly women and different ages too. I've got younger and older retired. So I have a range, which is really fun.
Wow.
And it's funny because even my cards, my sweetie, picks a card every day. And then I have a lot of friends that I've given my cards to, and their husbands pick a card. So men do use the cards, but it usually comes because of the colorful and the brightness. It usually comes from the woman, sharing it with her husband.
Isn't that funny? Are we
But my,
are we going to move into the age where men feel more comfortable in recognizing that they need the extra life coaching?
I think so. I think coaching is really taking over, and it's just wild because my sweetheart's a lawyer, and he just hired a life coach, which specializes in law
Oh my
practices.
goodness.
So I didn't know. I mean, there's so many specific avenues that you can life coach, and so he does specifically for lawyers how to network, how to get business, how to bring in more business. So he's experiencing it for the first time. And I think once I've heard so many success stories of people um, experiencing life coaching and working for them in a beautiful way. I've heard great stories. So I haven't really heard. And then the person that's getting a life coach is more open too. They're more open to experiencing and asking for help. The person who doesn't want help isn't going to be usually asking for a life coach.
Yeah, right. That's
So the clients that come to me are very open and they're eager to learn.
so that's kind of cool that you have one man who's willing to get to the place where he can overcome his issues and fears.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you're more of an emotional, life changing coach, and like your sweetie's coach is more of a business coach.
Correct. Exactly.
And I think in today's world, with everything that's going on, a lot of chaos in the world, it's I think the way that you're coaching is probably more necessary than ever for people to get a grip in order to move forward. Again, I got to say, if I had known you 10 years ago, I would have taken life coaching from you because it's not easy going into a business cold, and being actually forced to go into business to make a living
Yeah.
because all the other avenues are finished. So it's like, okay, it's like you really having a baby and not knowing that it's a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need
I mean,
coaching.
no, you need personal help too. I mean, coaching is amazing, get you from A to B if you're open and willing. But I look back at my life and there was moments that I don't know everything. I need help. I mean, I was married once a long time ago and I got a divorce. I didn't know what I was doing and I had to find a lawyer. Now, if I didn't find that lawyer and ask for help, it would have taken me, if I had to do my own paperwork, would have taken me probably
Yeah.
years. When I asked for help, I found a professional. He helped me through a very challenging time. And then I got to go on with my life. It was done. It was done well because he was a divorce lawyer. He knew what he was doing. So asking for help. And then I remember going to the gym and I was overwhelmed. And I'm like, I don't know how to use these machines. It's fearful. What am I going to do? And I hired a trainer. I went to a professional. It's like I need guidance here. I need help. And held my hand, walked me through all the equipment, taught me what to do right and wrong so I don't injure myself. So I've got a great success with asking professionals to help me out to get me to the next step. And we have to realize there's help out there. We don't have to do it all alone.
Yeah, right, right. But it at that point too, we have to allow our intuition to let go and find the right one. So
Yes. And
what's
just
the key? What's the key? What are you supposed to be aware of when looking for a life coach?
well, then too is be specific, and then because the clearer you are, I mean, if you're looking for a car and you're like, well, I don't know what kind of car I want, it's going to take you forever to find a car.
Right.
You write a wish list down. It's just like, I want a coach that's sensitive. I want a woman or a man, or get really specific. And in your goals, my goal is whoever you're interviewing as a coach, my goal is I want to quit my job. I want another job. I want to make this much money. I want to move out of state. Be really specific on what you want. Clarity is our friend. I mean, the clearer we are, and I knew exactly, what I wanted when I was looking for a trainer. Like, this is what I need, and I wrote a clean list. And then when I started interviewing trainers, she popped right out. That was my wish list, it's just like, so if you're looking for a life coach, be specific about the goals you want, be clear on what you want out of it, and then get into a feeling place too. If you want a woman, a man, a tough or sensitive or sweet, or because I mean, Tony Robbins is tough,
Yeah.
Jack Canfield's sweet. Everybody has a different style, and you've got to fit in that style, and it's got to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, there's your intuition.
Yeah.
No, thank you, and go to the next, because there's plenty. We live in abundance. There's tons out there, so you'll find the right coach.
So it's okay to interview them.
Oh yes.
And so what does that mean? Does that mean you call them up and talk to them before you hire them?
Oh, definitely. I do a consultation call, a first free consultation call. You got to know me. I got to know you, and get a vibe and a feeling. I mean, I've been to many You Can Do It seminars from Hay House, and you hear all these people talking on the stage, and they're all basically saying the same thing. But there's one that'll just, you resonate and you click with, and you're like, I get it. And then there's some you just don't get at all.
Mm.
That's your intuition, and that's if it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And if some coach is going to say, well, no, I'm going to charge you for that consultation, then that doesn't feel good. Go to the next.
Eh,
There's plenty of, that's why you test drive cars. You're not going to buy the car without test driving it.
exactly, exactly. So there's a lot of sites on the web to go find life coaches, right? So we do have options, although I've got to admit, I do recommend you highly because, well, I can feel the positivity about you, and there's something that I can click with. It just feels good talking with you. I'm sure the listeners are going to feel the same way. But it's like you're not pressuring anybody. You're still leaving everyone with their own devices, but you're just giving your life experiences and what helped you. And I also noticed that everyone needs to, they can't pick up what's going on with them. And that's where a life coach, possibly even within the first 5 minutes, can actually hear what's stopping you from going forward. And to me, that's the $1 million payoff right there.
Exactly. You nailed it. We're so close to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like we can't see our own issues or where we're stumbling or what's blocking us. But then we'll see it in a friend. Well, if she just did this and this and this, she'd get a date. We see it so well in other people. But my role as a life coach is to give that safe environment so we can walk and share these stories and these ideas. And then my clients are the ones that get the aha moment. They're like, oh, I don't tell them what to do. The coach doesn't tell people what to do. We walk through and ask amazing questions so you can go, oh, wow. I mean, I had a client that a young girl, she was adorable, and she just had these wonderful goals. and she wasn't achieving them. And the more we discussed and talked, she realized she was spending, and that was her aha moment. It's like, I spend way too much time on social media. I'm spending hours on Facebook. I could be working, but she was so close to it, she didn't see it. And so just by making that shift and change, she started booking, okay, I can only have, a half an hour a day on Facebook. And her sales went skyrocketed.
Goodness.
So we're too close to ourselves. But getting an outsider to walk through our issues with us, it brings them to light.
Yeah, that is so important. Um, Really, that makes the whole difference. I don't think I just don't think you can do it alone. I think you have to have somebody to guide you. Or it may take, I mean, it took me 10 years to finally consider myself successful. But it could have been 5 years. It could have been 3 years, you know?
Yeah, but not beating yourself up too. We are where we are. We're where we're supposed to be.
That's true.
It's a journey and it's a process. We'll be growing, I'll be 80 with my blue hair and my poodle. I'll still be learning.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm about ready to get my blue hair any day now.
That's it. I mean, we're always learning, we're always growing, and we have to be a little more loving, with ourselves and not so harsh.
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. This is so much fun. I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing with. And I've got to show these cards once again because I think these cards would have made a dramatic difference in my life had I had them 10 years ago because it keeps me focused in on what I need to achieve. And, intuitively, I believe that the universe is talking to me through these cards, and that's what makes it so special.
We all need tools, we all need support, we all need love and guidance. So if this can do it for people, I love it. I can't wait to get them in younger girls' hands and let them
Oh,
experience.
my goodness, what a great idea! Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't
They should be selling those in schools.
wouldn't that be? I've got ideas for that too, because I mean, I was young and I was seeking, and if I had those I mean, thank God for Louise Hayes and those affirmation cards and that daily calendar. I mean, that helped me immensely on my search and my quest and my journey.
But not everybody has that kind of background, so it needs to be more public so they can gravitate. We're evolving right now. The whole planet is. So now's the
Yeah,
time to get that. People need to get those cards and give them to kids
yeah,
as a
yeah,
gift to help them. Um,
definitely.
and maybe they aren't ready for those cards right now, but there will come a day when they reach the point where they need to what they are realizing that they're doing something wrong, and that's where those cards can help them, and that's important.
I love when you give a gift and it's just like you give a gift of a book, or if my cards get given as a gift, if it doesn't rock your world, give it to a friend, pass it on. You never know. It's like when you're in that bookstore and that one book falls off and that's what you needed to read. It will get to the right people.
You're right. Yeah, the universe is pretty amazing that way. Pretty amazing. I just love it. I am um, just thrilled that we had this opportunity to talk, and I love it. And I want to encourage everybody to go see your beautiful website, which is evolvewithchristie.com, and that's Kristie.com.
Yes,
So
yes.
evolvewithchristie.com. When you go there, you're going to love it. You're going to feel happy. And she's got the story of her life. She's got her blog. She's got the products right there. It's just a wonderful site, and you'll connect as much as I did. I just love it. So,
Woo! Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
oh, I loved it, and I want you to come back on. Okay?
Love to join you again.
Oh, that would be fun. Okay, thank you so much, Kristie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another great show from Law of Attraction Talk Radio. If you'd like to comment on tonight's show, send an email to jules@loaradionetwork.com and have a great week.